Yo. Okay, so yes, Mixdown. This is a biggie. You can have all the best sounds in the world arranged really nicely in great musicality, great sound design. But if you don't arrange them in a a sonically pleasing manner, then you're not maximizing how it can be received. Mixdown is a huge one. What I'll start with is my master bus, which is literally just one of these chaps. FabFilter Pro L, as you've seen in this entire tutorial, that's something I use all the time. For my master bus, you want no look ahead whatsoever because you don't want to be chopping off any transients. You want to leave the attack fully open and the release all the way down. This allows, there are 2 stages within Pro L, and this basically allows for the next one to do most of the limiting, which is going to give you maximum loudness. And punchy, again, is the setting that I use for achieving maximum loudness. If you were, this is for, very high RMS dance music. I wouldn't suggest it for rock necessarily or anything else, but it's what works for me. So there's that. Also, instead of using my master bus as my master, I use this pre-master channel. So I create another group that I send everything to in the same manner that you would send to the stereo out. I've just replaced it with this so that when I'm listening to a reference tune, that's awesome. Let's say if I push my master at all, or EQ anything, which I rarely do and I try and avoid at all times, but sometimes you end up doing that kind of file tweaky stuff. Then the reference is also going to be skewed sonically by that, so you can't get a really true A and B. So for that reason, I send everything to a pre-master, which has the same thing on it. So it's just this same, the same settings. So everything gets sent to the pre-master. Let's listen to the drop real quick. Actually, it might be distorting a little bit. I'm just going to bring that down. So again, if we're doing this to the pre-master, then to the master bus, then our reference would be changed, which would not be cool. So I brought it down a little bit there. Okay, so how do I route everything? So we've got all our bases and everything aligned and sorted out. I use this system basically. So there's a group here called Sidechain or SC with nothing on it but a Pro C. So this is just a ducker basically. So you can see there I've sidechained into it this really short transient. Just I bounced it just as a sidechain trigger really. So this has no output. It's not, you can't hear it, but it's being sent to the Pro C to make it duck at those specific times. So I've aligned it with, you can probably tell that all the kicks and snares have a sidechain trigger on it. So for the transient of each kick and snare, oh, that's not a snare, that's a percussion. Where's my snare? There she is. So yeah, all the kicks, let's get rid of that. All the kicks, all the snares have a green sidechain on it, so that every time any one of those happens, the whole mix ducks. So I've pretty much sent everything. So if that's all the stuff that's not being sent to the sidechain. So as you can hear, it's just the kick and snare now. So the whole tune is getting sidechained to the kick and snare basically. So no matter what I put in the mix, as long as it's sent to that channel, it is going to be moved every time there's a transient, which is a very useful tool. And then from there, the biggest thing that I've done over the years to try and get my mixes better and better, critical listening is one of them for sure. Just looping what you've got and trying to analyze it and separate it. But the biggest one is finding a tune that you like and trying to recreate it. I think that's absolutely what got me to the stage that I'm at. So let's have a listen to this amazing Cohen sound tune. Let's get it on the kick if we can. Oh dear, what did I do? Okay. Yeah. So, yeah. I analyze it. So... yeah, and just listen to various parts of it. So I look at that as a spectrum and see how mine matches up next to it. You notice I've got my my spectrum really quick. Some people don't like that, so I'm going to get it a bit slower. So you're seeing similar kind of shapes. That's such an awesome tune. Yeah, so referencing is an absolutely huge part of what I do. And certainly on these kind of modes where you've got it really quick, you can see that his sub's kind of sitting like there-ish, so I kind of hope I've got my sine waves to that, to a similar region. So yeah, that's a very important part of what I do. Beyond that, we did all the bass kind of synthesis and processing earlier on, and then from there it's a case of splitting them up into their various parts so that they can fit in the tune properly. So I've got my mid-range guy. Let's just make that a bit smaller. I've isolated that harmonic of it, so you've got the sine at the bottom. Next one up, middle one, and the bass. And then you can kind of, what I've done here, because there's a big kick here, and if we play them at this at the same time as this sine wave, it's going to distort like hell. So let's bring that back. Can you hear that? But then if you just, and if you have them laid out in this manner, it's so easy to do it. Like, you can really push your master really high, and then just as and when the distortions happen, you can just bring the things that are making it distort down. So you see they've got like fades on it, where obviously the sidechain is ducking it for the transient, but you know, the really beefy low end stuff of the kick, I mean, that's already at 0, isn't it? So you really haven't got much space for other stuff happening. The biggest one that's going to cause distortion is the 2 low end elements happening at the same time, so you really want to avoid that. So that's why I split out my bass sound into mid-range stuff in red, and then yellows for subparts. And sometimes, if I'm being really pedantic, you know, splitting it up into the various harmonics that build up the low end of a sound. Put a fade on that. So then I can duck each one individually, you know. So these second two don't have to duck for as long, but this really loud sine wave, which again is nearly reaching 0, but it is on there. You can't have that existing at the same time as other stuff. So yeah, it's a case of routing it all to a bus, in this case the sidechain group, and then moving parts around each other so they don't conflict. And then beyond that, in terms of getting the right shape and right amount of high end, I think it's important to, I've chosen a tune that is in the same key, which helps. So you can see where your sine tones need to like sit and the arrangement of them. So that first note, for instance, is going to be a good reference for how thick the low end of my note needs to be. So you got a few harmonics here. So I kind of match that similarly to this. I'm starting to realize how similar these tunes are. But yeah, correct referencing. Also, I can't often tell whether or not I've got too much high end in my tune. If you do long sessions, your ear starts to get quite tired. So get 3 or 4 tunes and then find somewhere in the middle of them to see where you're. I mean, you get used to where everything should sit. So on this setting in span, I've got. I generally try and get my sine wave at the bottom to 0. And then my high end kind of, obviously I've got it on a very fast setting here, but you kind of, the whole tune wants to kind of, you have this sub at 0, some bass information here, not too much of this mid-range stuff, maybe a bit scoopy, and then kind of a bit of 3, and then enough for 10k. So kind of sitting along here, and then goes like that, generally. So let's have a look. The mid-range basses are quite talky, so you've got a lot of exaggerated 8 to 1, which is fair enough. I used to have a really slow analyzer, and I used to try and kind of make it slope down like that, which is kind of what happens in kind of like a soul wave would, I guess. But then I prefer going in really deep and having a look at everything as it's happening. So yeah, hopefully you've gained some useful tips along the way here. I had a really good time doing this whole thing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tune as well. So thank you everyone for listening. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm going to post my email after this video. So yeah, hit me up. All right, cheers guys.